Well. Jennifer Youngs, future wife of Walter, last name redacted for no reason whatsoever.
Walter Chainsaw.
Walter Chainsaw. Welcome back to the intro of yet another episode of The Boiler Room. Father figures. I bet you they all have daughters. Oh my God, they literally do. Every father figure in this episode has a daughter.
Except Rickie's uncle.
Oh, okay. I guess we don't. Do we know? Does he have? He doesn't have. I don't remember.
Unknown.
Okay, unknown.
Also, I am not the father of a daughter. I would say I would go so far as to say I'm sort of the lead father figure of this episode of the podcast.
The lead, between me, Joanna, and you are the lead father figure. Yeah, I'll give that to you. I can't speak for Joanna, but I can assume that she would give that title to you as well.
And there are no daughters within the walls of my keep.
Sam, our former cat, my current cat, would like to have a word with you after the taping.
Okay, sorry, Sam. Just feel like, Sam's moved on. Sam's living her life. It's not really... We have a nice relationship, but
fine.
It's distant.
It's true. Okay, fine. Great. This is exactly what I figured we'd talk about at the intro to father figures was your relationship to the cat we adopted together in 2017.
Yeah. I was looking forward to talking to you about the Grateful Dead and Fish.
Oh, no. Speaking of cats.
Oh, yeah. First of all, R.I.P. Trey, who gets... a big shout out in this episode. But since you and Joanna talk about your relationships to the Grateful Dead and Fish, I thought I would tell you about mine.
I love that. Please do.
Sonically, emotionally, I don't understand the Grateful Dead. They've never made sense to me. But I've never gotten it. We've never aligned. Mm-hmm. We've never gotten each other, I'd like to think. Okay. But the gentleman who produced my last record, Josh Kaufman, is a huge Deadhead and actually has, in recent years, worked a bunch with some surviving members of the Grateful Dead, producing records for them, playing in their live bands. Yeah.
Would you say Avalanche has any crossover sound with the Grateful Dead?
I would say that Josh's guitar playing, I think he would agree with me that it is at least partially inspired by the Grateful Dead. I think are a really important band for him. So there's something there.
Okay, that's fun.
There's a song, I think it's Uncle John's Band, but it's confusing for me to remember because I really like the verses, but then I really don't like the choruses, which is where it is declared that we must come here, Uncle John's Band. But the verses are really pretty. If I spent more time with their discography, it's possible that I could really learn something. But what I really wanted to talk to you about is Fish, because you had your Fish adjacent period.
I did. Related to a girl, as things always are,
Mm-hmm. Unless, as I've mentioned previously on even the intros of this very podcast and also in other places, I have a group of friends from high school. There's 4 of us total. And one of their cousins lives next door to Walter's brother, but also...
We're going to have like an L-word style chart by the end of this, but it's all just going to be like connected to Walter.
Northern New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the boy in the group, his name is Will. He is...
The boy in her friend group, for those who are...
Sorry, yes, the boy in my friend group.
Math memeing out right now, yeah.
Is a gigantic Fish...
God, of course he is.
Devotee and aficionado. And,
aficionado? Wow, Jenny.
Aficionado. Mm-hmm. He's seen over 100 Fish shows. He is always texting the group about what Fish shows he's going to and asking if any of us want to go. None of us.
I love that he's still trying, though.
He sends us videos from Fish shows regularly. He's about it.
You know how I had never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I was like, oh, you can really only understand this on the other side. I feel like there might be something to not sitting with the discography of Fish or the Grateful Dead. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert. But I think that perhaps on the other side of the experiences of attending the shows with or without the accompaniment of psychedelic drugs, it's a particular thing that like means something else that we might not be able to fully understand.
Well, actually, it's so funny that you're putting forth this great pitch for a podcast that already exists called Analyze Fish, in which
oh yeah, I've heard of this actually.
Lifelong fish head Harris Whittles tries to convince Scott Aukerman that Fish is a good band.
Yeah, Scott Aukerman does like all kinds of drugs for the podcast, right?
They do, yeah. I mean, they start out by going like, you know, like listen to this song, listen to this live version of this song, listen to this cover, listen, like whatever. And Scott Aukerman is not won over. Then they eventually go to, I think, a Madison Square Garden show.
Mm-hmm.
But they do like all of the things. They go to somebody's apartment beforehand and do some drugs. Then they get some other drugs and they take them at the show. And Scott Aukerman remains
unconvinced.
So I'm just saying, you know,
it might not work.
It's been tried in the past,
okay.
And it's possible that it's just maybe just not for everyone.
Sure, I can accept that.
Possibly.
However, what are your feelings? I'm sure we probably talked about this 5 years ago in the episode, but what are your feelings on the Ben & Jerry's flavor fish food?
So bad. My feelings are negative, and here's why.
The gasp was so big that it was like the gasped inside of me.
Okay, so what I do appreciate is that fish food is one of the Ben & Jerry's flavors that is available in a non-dairy variety.
Mm-hmm.
Praise. And I like almost all of it. It's almost ideal. It's chocolate ice cream, great base. I really don't like ice cream with a bunch of stuff in it when the base is vanilla, unless like everything is really super dialed. But chocolate is a much more crowd pleasing base, in my opinion. Okay. The crowd being a crowd of one, Jenny. So you got your chocolate ice cream base, amazing. Gooey marshmallow swirls, not something I'd normally go looking for, but in this context, delicious. Caramel swirls, absolutely. This ice cream is actually already perfect there, but they just couldn't stop themselves. There are hard little chocolate fudge fish that are too hard.
Oh, I like the fudge fish. That's I think why I like it.
To be an ice cream.
Yeah. Okay.
A while back, when I was playing some shows with friend of the pod, Rishikesh Airway, he was working on a custom ice cream flavor with salt and straw.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And we got to go to their headquarters and taste some stuff and see kind of behind the ice cream. Very exciting. And what we learned from them is
BTIC. Yeah, okay.
All or most of the stuff that they do as far as mix-ins in their flavors, they've ultimately brought in-house. Like they make their brownie chunks and stuff in-house. And what they've determined over time is that you have to you can't just make a brownie that would be the right consistency at room temperature and then put it in ice cream and expect it to be the right consistency once frozen.
Okay.
There's like a scientific, which I love, there's this whole like chemistry component where it's like, how do we get the brownies to still be kind of gooey even though they're frozen? So you have to change the recipe. And I feel like these fudge fish, almost so close, but they're, in my opinion, too hard. Is this a good intro to a podcast?
It is,
Kristin?
and I was listening to you, but I also was just looking. I just had this memory of like Ben & Jerry's hiring folks recently released from prison, because you were like, they make all their stuff in house, and I was like, I have this memory of Ben & Jerry's. You know, Ben & Jerry's doing like a lot of social good. That's kind of like their cornerstone. And I had a memory of them hiring at-risk youth and recently released, I can't tell if it's recently, like folks recently released from prison or trying to disrupt the poverty to prison pipeline by their hiring practices. I just remember learning something about the brownies in Ben and Jerry's, and I can't find it now. It's just an intro, but look it up because even a soft Google of Ben and Jerry's poverty to prison pipeline gives you some insight into their hiring practices, which are awesome, which of course doesn't translate to Jenny liking the fudge fish, and that's fine too.
I just okay, sorry. On a much less like aimed in the direction of social good note, but equally Ben and Jerry's related. I'm on their website. And I found there was a little link at the bottom of the fish food page that was like 2-ingredient vegan mug cake. And I was like, yes. Here are the 2 ingredients. Half a cup of self-rising flour and 2 scoops of Ben and Jerry's fish food non-dairy variety.
Oh my God.
You scoop the ice cream into the mug, microwave in 20-second increments until it's fully melted. Add self-rising flour, stir to combine, put it on a small plate and microwave for 2.5 to 3 minutes, and you're good.
Wow, you get everything in these intros. You know what I'm saying? You get recipes, you get it all.
How am I doing? Sorry.
Yes, you have other things on your list. Tell us.
Joanna talks about a teacher that she had a crush on.
Oh, I remember this. I remember this. Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if I ever talked about having a crush on a teacher.
I don't have a memory of that. And I am your ex-wife, so I at least count for something. Memory of a goldfish, but also your ex-wife. I probably even out to a moderate listener.
Regular. Okay.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I had an English teacher who was very cool to me. Mm-hmm. I thought she was very cool.
Mm-hmm. Just so cool. Yeah. I think a lot of us have had that very cool teacher. Yeah.
She was like, have you ever heard of this poet? And I was like, whoa, a poet? She was like, here's a black and white photograph that I took and developed and printed of Emily Dickinson's gravestone covered in a light dusting of snow.
Oh my God. Okay, so she was very gay.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I wanted.
You just had a crush on her. And now everyone is like, teacher who took a photograph of Emily Dickinson. Stop looking up the people from our past, you little freaks.
Yeah, stop doing Google searches that start with Jenny, New Jersey.
God. Oh my God. Even like Jenny, New Jersey, fill in the blank could be a really wild ride.
I really love how Rickie and Graham interact in this episode, and then I love how it's retold. Rickie is like, hi. And Graham is like, hi. And then Rickie's like, bye. And Graham is like, bye. And then later, Rickie is like, I was like, hi. And he was like, hi. And then I was like, bye. And he was like, bye.
Wow, this is your favorite thing in television, and it never happens, and it's happened twice in 2 shows that we are covering, Fallout and My So-Called Life. Incredible.
Wait, when did it happen in Fallout?
You were so excited when Cooper said to Moldaver,
yes.
Not to Moldaver, but said like
he said something. Enough. She said, "What did you say?" And then he said it again without like completely rephrasing it the way people usually do in television.
Right. This is like a version of that. It's like the non-dairy flavor of that, you know?
Okay. All right, settle down.
All right, Jenny. Anything else you want to talk about related to father figures?
I don't think you should even give me an opening. Don't ask me.
The people. Believe it or not, the people actually do enjoy listening to you.
That doesn't sound right, but I appreciate you.
I might not, but it's my job. Everybody else who tunes in, they really enjoy it.
What the hell?
Just kidding. Care about you deeply. Wish only the best for you, father of the pod.
Oh, thank you.
Podfather.
The podfather.
All right. Well, I guess now you don't get any more of Jenny, but she'll remain in your heart as you listen to me and Joanna talk about father figures.
Hooray.
So not to shock you, but your dad's attractive. Oh, I'm sure.
Not that I'd attack him or anything. But I wouldn't leave me alone with him either.
Oh, so when I was leaving, he was there. And I was like, well, hi. And he was like, well, hi. And I was like, well, bye. And he was like, well.
It's not just physical. He's nice. You just have a really nice dad. He's really nice.
When someone compliments your parents, there's like nothing to say. It's like a stun gun to your brain.
Oh my goodness. Hello. It is me, Kristin Russo.
Oh, and I am Joanna Robinson.
And this, believe it or not, is yet another episode of The Boiler Room, a podcast where Joanna and I are talking about each of the 19 precious episodes of my so-called life, spoiler-free.
This episode is called Father Figures, and it was written by Winnie Holtzman, directed by Mark Rosner, and it aired on September 15th, 1994.
Listen, first point out of the gates, Joanna, from me, Kristin Russo, is this series follows the timeline. You know, like we will see a Halloween episode, we will see a holiday episode, and they will be situated in the proper months where they aired. So it is September 15th-ish in Pittsburgh. It is so cold they can see their breath in one of the scenes. So I'm just like wondering, was there a cold snap in Pittsburgh?
Is
or
it
something?
like I don't know anything about the weather in Pittsburgh, even though you and I are both going to Pennsylvania this week.
So soon, yeah.
What is it like in September in Pittsburgh?
I don't think it's that cold unless it just really dropped. I mean, if you think about September in New York is balmy sometimes, you know? But so I don't know. I mean, it just seems September's early to see your breath. I think even in Pittsburgh, but if you are a Pittsburgh native and you have information to refute this claim, please, as always, email us at boilerroomcast@gmail.com. But it just seems extra chilly to me.
Yes, I mean, maybe it was just an excuse to get Claire Danes in that adorable snuggly sweater. I don't know what to tell you, but
It's a good sweater. That sweater will keep you fucking warm, even in December in Pittsburgh. That's a serious sweater.
I just want to say that, like, I was watching the episode and I was like, why is Brian wearing this ridiculous sweater? And then I was like,
his grandmother knit him that sweater.
I was, yeah, it's like Colin Firth's Ranger jumper from Bridget Jones' Diary or something like that. I was like, why is Brian wearing that? And then he like gives to Angela. I was like, oh, it's like something that could look kind of cute on Claire too. Okay, I got you. It's an extra. It's an extra sweater for sure. So.
Yeah, so before we get to the wintry September evening in Pittsburgh, the episode starts with a flashback, which of course like gives us the whole theme of this episode. It's called Father Figures, and it's, spoiler, all about father figures in many ways, but the main ways being Patty's dad, who, Joanna, I don't know if you know this because we talked about the fact that Winnie Holtzman is in this episode.
Yes.
So I know we both know that. But the guy who plays Patty's dad,
Paul Dooley.
Yeah. Do you know that he's married to Winnie Holtzman?
No.
Yes, he's married. They got married. I know. I didn't tell you when we were talking about Winnie Holtzman because I wanted to have your live response on air if you didn't know. I looked up Paul Dooley because he's in literally everything. Like, if you name a television show.
I'm extremely familiar with the works of Paul Dooley, and we will talk about that in a second, but I did not know about his extracurricular activities.
Yes. In 1984, he got married to Winnie Holtzman. Now, there's a decent age gap between them, too. Paul Dooley is right now 91 years old to Winnie Holtzman 65. So I did the math on it. And Winnie was 30 when they got married and he was 56, which made the math seem I was like, oh, well, that doesn't seem actually like that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, these two have been married since literally 1984. They have a daughter named Savannah, who's queer, by the way. And that's my story about Paul Dooley for you. I played you a Cat Stevens song last week for Amba.
Amba Malone?
Amba Malone.
Did you notice that did you notice that my boy Graham says Amber like I say Amber?
Yes, I did. Mostly because I was like, how does Graham know Amber's name even? Like, we didn't see the conversation really
that
about
he
Amber
and Patty
between-
had.
Yeah.
Graham and I are completely simpatico in how you should pronounce Amber. He's like Amber. Anyway.
But that makes me think that Patty told Graham about Amber by also doing the accent. You know what I mean? Like everybody's doing it.
You're right. You're right. Definitely someone need to inform him. Anyway, Paul Dooley, let me tell you how I know Paul Dooley. I mean, he's a great character actor in the vein of like JT Walsh. He's a great guy, but Paul Dooley, I know from the film Breaking Away, which I don't know if you've ever seen this film. It's like a 1970s film about bike racing, kind of. Anyway, Paul Dooley plays the dad of the main character in Breaking Away. This is a film that I watched with my dad. My dad loved the film Breaking Away.
Oh, wow.
This is a movie that I watched a lot with him. And Paul Dooley plays this like really like exasperated with his son and all of his friends, sort of like grumpy dad who really just like comes through in a big way in the end. And so like he is like you want to tap into like who do I think of when I think of people playing fathers? It's definitely Paul Dooley. And he's also the dad, he's Samantha's dad in 16 Candles as well. So
yes, like that I realized only when I looked it up.
Yeah, so he's just like a dad actor to me.
He plays dad.
Yeah, exactly.
He does a good job.
Mm-hmm. This is his least likable dad figure.
Yeah.
So.
I think his character probably upset me even when I watched this the first time, but I'm sure that it upsets me way more when I watch it now.
Yeah.
But before we get to being upset with Patty's dad, Angela's dad, Graham, sorry, I'm skipping ahead a lot, but I'm too excited to wait to get there. The fact that Rayanne is one of your
she's a graham cracker. Yeah.
She's a graham cracker, Joanna.
I think Rayanne and Rickie are in the graham cracker hive.
Yes,
if I'm being
agree.
Honest.
I agree, and it made me because I've been really trumpeting my like I never thought of Graham as like a sexy figure because I was like younger, but then when I watched this episode, I was like, well, wait, it was totally positioned to me that Rayanne and Rickie thought that Graham was sexy, so perhaps I'm misremembering. But your point gets more and more solidified as we go through the episode. Well, we start with this flashback that's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit much for me, the flashback. I mean, obviously it's there to like show us Angela when she's little and she's so excited that her dad is home, which is a thing. That's a thing. And I actually remember this from being like little, I think littler than they show Angela, but I grew up with my mom and my dad. My mom and dad are still together, which is I'm an oddball amongst the people that I know. Most people I know do not have parents who are still together. But my dad worked and my mom stayed at home. And so, that in any dynamic, no matter what who's playing what role, the role of the parent, if you have a 2-parent home where they're away at work and they come back, like they really do get the better end of the stick in the sense of, as a kid, you're like excited to see them because they haven't been home and they're usually not the one yelling at you and making rules and all this stuff. So it sort of sets the tone of like the difference between Angela when she was super little and like where we've gotten to now when Graham comes home, and obviously Angela doesn't give 2 shits because she's pissed.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that my memory of this is that my mom telling us that we used to like run and like hug her neck when she would pick us up from school, and then at a certain point, we'd be like, "My mommy's here," and then at a certain point, we like stopped because we grew up. And this is that's a great sort of speech that Patty has in this episode. Good stuff from Patty, I think, on that front. But
yeah,
the one thing I think it's a little soapy and overwrought, this thing at the beginning, but I do like how much she kind of looks like Danielle, you know what I mean? And so that sort of underlines that whole like Danielle is still where Angela was. There is like a little too, they lean a little too hard into that later when Danielle's like, "I love your whiskers, Daddy. I love it." And I was like, this is awkward. I feel very
Right.
uncomfortable about this. So yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
think last week or maybe a couple weeks ago, I was like, I think like I had this hypothesis that sometimes good writing can be like just a line away from some cheesy writing, and
Right.
I actually am gonna put the whiskers in the cheesy bin. I think it just they went a little too hard. By the time we get to the end, and Patty's dad is
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about him, like I was like, okay, guys,
That-
like we.
yeah.
We fucking get it.
Yeah.
But you know already from just the first 3 episodes, I have very few criticisms of this television show. So enjoy this one tiny one that I have. So anyway, Rayanne is into Graham Stubble and Rickie. So Rickie has this fucking moment with Graham.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, look. Rickie and her dad are bonding.
Come on.
Well, bye.
Bye.
It's so good.
Oh, it's really cute. It's really, really cute. And then we get this, like the first of many instances where somebody is going to be feeling close to Graham. In this case, it's Rayanne, who's like really, really enjoying cooking with Graham and flipping over the pancakes or whatever the hell they're making. And Angela is, I mean,
They're making
Angela's whole deal.
fritters.
Oh, fritters.
This took me a really long time to figure out because, like, at first I was like, "Oh, it's grilled cheese, obviously," and then Angela has this like bowl of batter, and I'm like, "Is it
Right.
nighttime pancakes?" And then Graham goes, "Honey, I can make you something else." And Angela's like, "No, it's fine." And I was like, "What was that, Angela?" And then I listened again, and I couldn't hear it. Then I put the closed captioning on, and she goes, "No, it's fine. I'll eat a fritter." And I was like, "Okay,
Oh
we're
my
making
God.
fritters. Got it." It was like a
I
whole
swear to
process.
God, Joanna, if you keep this up, I'm going to have Jenny Owen Youngs, co-host of Buffering the Vampire Slayer, make you a Detective Joanna jingle. I swear
Oh my
to God.
God, all I want in the world. Also, maybe we probably already knew this that Rayanne calls her mom Amber, like just calls her Amber.
Yes.
But she's like, when Rickie's like, "I'm taking the bus. Do you want to come with me?" She's like, "No, Amber's picking me up." Amber.
Amber.
So that's the thing. So here's a real quick thing that I will say is that I didn't have a great relationship with my parents growing up, nor do I have one now. But for people who did not have a great relationship with their parents growing up, it's such a strong thing to go over to someone's house and see their like very homey domestic interactions, and to have their parents treat you with a lot of warmth and affection. You're just this thirsty little flower. Like, I
Aw.
really relate to Rayanne in this moment where she's just like soaking up all the attention Graham has to give her. It's
Mhm.
and Graham for his part is like, I want to give this to my daughter. She's throwing up these walls that I don't understand because I haven't figured out that she knows some of the stuff that I'm up to. And so I guess I'll put it here, I guess. I mean,
Right.
I'll put it somewhere. So yeah.
Right. And I think that I spent most of my, teen years on the other side of that. Like a lot of my friends had not great home lives and would come to my house. And I feel like there's this, because, and we'll see it unfold in this episode and even past this episode with Angela, where I remember having that feeling of feeling annoyed and angry when my friends would feel connected to my parents because I couldn't feel connected to my parents, and
Yeah.
feeling and also feeling in a very privileged sense, but still feeling that but I'm angry with them, and how do I get to be angry with them or annoyed with them when it feels like there's there can't be a place for that because I have these parents who are willing to do all of these wonderful things, but they still drive me insane. So yeah, I think there's just the whole dynamic is, I think, really accurately portrayed, and culminates in this kitchen scene with Graham being like, I have tickets to see the Grateful Dead, which makes Rayanne lose her fucking mind because her mom is of course, Amber Vallone is a huge Grateful Dead fan, and they have this moment of bonding. My question to you, Joanna, is, do you have any Grateful Dead connections in your life? Did you listen to the Grateful Dead? Did you know people who listened to the Grateful Dead? What's your Grateful Dead story?
I mean, it was a real thing in the 90s. We wore a lot of tie-dye in the 90s. And or at least
It's true.
At least in okay, good. Across
No, it's very true.
We've talked about this before, but like the way in which people are now nostalgic for the 90s is the way that I think we were nostalgic for the 60s and the 90s. And so like you know, I knew a lot of kids my age who like went to high school who would go to Dead shows. We used to do fundraisers. I have no personal connection. I've never been to a Dead show. Like, I think Jerry Garcia, I believe, lived in like my town, but it didn't like mean much to me. I mean, because you know, it's a San Francisco sort of thing, you know. But like, I didn't like see him at the supermarket or whatever. I just like know that he did. But we used to go to Grateful Dead concerts when I was in these community service programs. So we used to go to the Grateful Dead concerts and sell grilled cheese and like other baked goods outside of a Grateful Dead concert, and you could make so much money off of like stoned older Grateful Dead fans.
I am thrilled that I asked you this question. A tiny Joanna selling grilled cheeses to like super high Grateful Dead fans is a great fucking image.
Also, the bear, like the dancing bears, like the Grateful Dead bears, those were like all over a lot of stuff. So like,
oh my God, the dancing bears were literally plastered over every single thing in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's
especially tie-dye t-shirts.
Yeah. So that's we had a rolling, do you know, sorry, I feel like all these digressions are pretty silly, but like, you know those there are stamps that are like rolling stamps where they're like,
oh yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah, we had one of the dancing bears, so you could just like roll a whole like banner of bears across. So anyway, that's my relationship.
Oh my God, a literal metaphor for the 90s is your rolling stamp of dancing bears.
Of dancing dead
Taking
bears.
breaks to use your hacky sack in between rolling.
Oh, that's right, bro. How about you?
Wow.
What's your dead relationship?
So I didn't have any relationship to the Grateful Dead except for I knew that they were super cool, and I feel like I didn't have like a ton of access to their shows by the time I was of an age where I would have maybe gone to them. So instead, I went to Phish shows.
Yes, I was gonna say
so that was it was like my, you know, secondary Grateful Dead experience.
Yeah.
My first girlfriend loved Phish. We would go and see them play, and she would do a lot of drugs, and I would not because I was never good at doing drugs. And you know, I just had a lot of hemp necklaces and would see Phish play. And the one thing that I will say connected to my life for many years after is that I got a cat named Trey when I was 19. I had him for 15 years, and I named him Trey. I named him for Trey Anastasio, if that's how you say his name, in Phish. So that's an embarrassing anecdote about me, Kristin Russo. You're all welcome. So anyhow, Patty gets home, and it's like womp womp because she's bringing this news that they're being audited. And like, you know, once again, it's this dynamic of like everybody's having fun. And then Patty gets home and is like, I have to be the fucking adults in every situation.
Yeah, this assessment of Graham as like a Arrested Development, like just wants to be a kid with the other kids thing is really sending me on this rewatch of My So-Called Life, because Patty's like, Graham, hi, can I interrupt your fun for a second? I have adults responsibilities to talk to you about. And I'm like, ugh, anyway. Still love you, Graham, but I'm just saying, anyway.
Yeah, I still do too. But I think because we've been like teasing it out for the last few episodes, I was like, oh wow, like okay, I'm going to get deep for a second here, but I have been talking about how I have some issues with Patty, and I think some of them are because she reminds me of my mom. But when I watched this episode, I was like, oh no, Kristin, you have issues with Patty because she also reminds you of you.
Oh,
Bum, bum, bum. But like, definitely, yeah, I know, I had it. So there we are.
Kristin, if you see yourself in Patty, then I'm just here to tell you I love what I see that you see in Patty, Kristin.
Thank you.
You are a very responsible human being. That's true.
I am. I'm responsible, and I often have been in relationships historically where like I am like, hey, but what about this thing? You know, like I always feel like the womp, like coming home with my IRS bill, just like Patty does. So they go in and they're talking about Patty's explaining they're being audited. And I think for me at least, the notable moment of this scene, apart from getting the exposition, is Angela walking in and saying, "Did you lie about something?" And Graham being like, "Why are you looking at me?" Which, I don't know. Graham saw that, he was on the phone and Angela walked in. Like, you'd think that he would maybe have a clue about what's happening here. And I'm confused about why he doesn't.
His cluelessness here is like, because it's so like, oh, what did I do? I'm like, Graham, you've been maybe like, because if someone started treating me shittily, I'd be like, okay, did I do something? And if I were Graham, I'd be like, why, yes, I have been doing things.
Why, yes,
I nearly almost had an affair with someone. So is that what's happening here? Not like racking my brain. Can't think of something. Yeah. I'm still in the graham cracker hive, I want to say, but I feel like really quickly we need to shout out the fact that like I audibly sucked my breath in between my teeth when Graham said some hypnotized by food was his Indian name. I was like, I wrote Indian name, yike. And then also just really want to shout out the fact that Amba lived on a bus with a girl named Pop Tart. Okay, we can move on from there. Just needed you all to know.
Flashing forward a few scenes, we also learned that Amber has a honey. So, just saying.
It's true.
Amber's really got a whole life. I would have loved a spinoff just called Amba.
This episode is so deliciously complicated for the layers of sympathy and lack of sympathy that it asks you to like engage with in like these multiple characters. So like with Graham, you could be frustrated with Graham that like he's being so dense. Like we know why Angela's mad at him, and she's sort of like somewhat well within her rights to be mad at him. So like we get that, but we can also like feel his like frustration. Like he doesn't know why his daughter's doing all kinds of erratic stuff, going through his briefcase, whatever, and he's like, what's happening? And then also he is being like really protective of his wife against his fault. Like he's like sticking up for Patty against her dad in a good way. And so it's like it's really pushing you to assess a human being as a whole, the good and the bad, the whole thing, and that's
it is, because especially the way that it sets up that dichotomy between Patty's dad and Graham, where if we're only looking at Patty, Graham is like the fucking best.
Yeah.
It's like, so we meet Patty's dad, and there's so many cringeworthy moments with him. But speaking of like rewinding to make sure you heard something correctly, I actually did that in this next scene. Angela leaves because she's upset because Danielle is like having a close moment with Graham. But then Grandpa arrives.
Moment. Yes.
Yeah. A whisker close moment.
Yeah.
And one of the first things he says, and he's just this like archetype of a character that's like walks in talking about the, things that should be fixed on the house.
Gutter,
Yes, you did this wrong, and you're doing this wrong, and you're doing this other thing wrong. And I know people like this. And then he says under his breath, you send a girl to do a man's job, which is kind of like his whole deal. I mean, he's got a lot going on, but I really feel like his main thread is that he does not think that a woman is capable of doing the work that a man can do.
And then Graham says in this great, like, super challenging way, what's that, Chuck? Like, as if he said, what the fuck? Is like what Graham's like reaction was like, I'm sorry, what was that? Which is great. Yeah. So that's the thing, is like Graham, sometimes great, sometimes not so great.
Graham is complicated, but he through the episode he defends, or he lifts Patty through this episode, like in ways that I don't even think we've seen him do yet. He really, really values her, and values her intelligence and her abilities and all of this stuff that, of course, we don't get at all with her dad.
But the layers of Patty's dad is named Chuck, right? So the layers of Grandpa Chuck. He calls Angela Honey Bunch, which is something that Graham calls her later in a scene where she's just like giving him zero time of day. But he calls her honey bunch, gives her this really long hug, which she's just like completely into. And Graham's watching it like pissed because he's like, she's being nice to him, but she's being mean to me, and Chuck sucks and I don't. So what's happening? And then you also have Patty being like, I miss being daddy's little girl to a certain extent. You know, there's just like a lot in this moment. And I was telling you, I think off air, that like the first time I sort of zipped through my rewatch of this season, like a couple weeks ago when we started, I was kind of like, I gotta admit, like focusing on the like Angela and Jordan stuff and the Angela and her friend stuff. And I fast forward through like a lot of this Patty's dad stuff in this episode, but sitting down to rewatch it, like with my full attention on it this week, I found it very rewarding. The adult drama at play here. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I am getting to really see a lot of the different layers, whereas definitely the first time I watched, I was simply watching for, in this case, what is really like to pretend like I know how to talk about TV, the BNC story.
Yes.
I pulled that from last week, Joanna. I'm a quick learner.
Jordan's like the D story in this episode. I know. He's barely here, so yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned layers, and I'm glad that you did, because I want to talk for a minute about the amount of flannel in this fucking episode. I challenge you, viewer / listener, to count you cannot even count it. It's unbelievable. The whole thing opens, there's already 2 flannels. Rickie and Angela are both wearing flannels, I think. Yeah. And then Grandpa comes in a flannel. Then the next scene, that's this scene that we're about to go into, 2 students. They pan through students. There's just 2 of them already in flannel. We're 9 minutes in, we've gotten at least 6 flannels. I'm just saying.
There's a classroom scene where I was just like, I had a similar moment where I was like, I can't even count the flannel.
Yeah,
also,
it's unbelievable.
I'm starting to wonder if Angela has many plaid dresses, because the plaid dress is back in a couple different scenes in this episode, but I think it might even be like a 3rd iteration of the plaid dress.
She does wear the red one again, the one that like we've seen, but I think what I'm gathering about, I always thought that Angela wore one plaid dress over and over again. I think it's 2. I think it's the red one and the gold one.
No, but I think there's like a 3rd one in this episode. Here, I'm gonna start taking screen grabs. We'll see. We'll get to the bottom of this.
The battle of the plaid dress.
Twitter. Please check it back and at Boiler Room Cast on Twitter to see my close analysis of the plaid dresses. But yeah, so this is the introduction of tremendous actress Winnie Holtzman in this episode. I mean, Winnie's not a great actress, but she gets to be in her own show. It's fine. You know, she's fine. She demands Jordan give her his Walkman, which he says he does not have. Kids, a Walkman, a portable way to listen to your mixtapes, your cassettes. Anyway,
you had this plastic tape that you put in.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is also, Joanna, where we meet Rayanne's crocheted hat, which I feel is important. Also, last week I cut out some of my yammering because I thought that we were meeting Rickie's famous brick-looking sweater. I realized on my rewatch that the sweater from last episode is not the famous Rickie sweater. He has a few sweaters that look like little rectangles, and we get that here too. So it's Rickie's in his little sweater with his striped vest. Rayanne is in her crocheted hat. A lot of good fashion happening in the hallway.
You'll have to forgive Angela. She's the product of a 2-parent household. What a great line delivery on an exit,
Yes.
you know, from the great AJ Langer. So yeah, it's a good scene.
I agree. We're going from that right into, so like, I had a note because I do think it's hilarious that Danielle is like on the fucking phone and she's like, we're getting audited.
That's like classic Danielle, like when she's like, someone slipped at school. And you're like,
right,
okay.
Someone fell.
Yeah.
Did you know that I do the parallel bars?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies just to see if you could save some cash? Well, Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states. The holidays are approaching, and everyone knows that this time of year, the sooner you can get things done, the better. For both shoppers and businesses, the best time to score great deals during the holidays is during that Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. And if you have your own business, whether you've been around the block a few times or this is your first year going through the holiday sale rush, the most important thing you can have is a platform that can handle everything that's about to be thrown at you. This is a crucial time for your business and your customers. And with Shopify, you can be sure that your tools and platform are ready for anything that comes your way. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names to entrepreneurs who will be participating in their first Black Friday, Cyber Monday this year. With everything else going on, you probably don't have time to spend hours poring over every little detail in your online store. That's why Shopify's thousands of templates and tools help you streamline website creation and make sure that your site isn't just aesthetically pleasing, but functional and easy to use. Shopify's expedited checkout, Shop Pay, saves customer information and reduces hassle. And the best part is that it's been proven to boost conversions, meaning you'll see less abandoned carts and more profits. You can also stress less knowing that Shopify's award-winning customer support team is on standby 24/7 to help with any issues that arise, allowing you to get back to your business as fast as possible. This Black Friday, join the thousands of new entrepreneurs hearing for the first time with Shopify. Sign up for your free trial today at shopify.com/realm. That's shopify.com/realm. Go to shopify.com/realm and make this Black Friday one to remember.
I've got a homicide in Springfield's North Woods by mile marker 16.
You are now entering Springfield. Where's the body?
Off the side of the ditch down there. You know, surrounded by all this crime scene tape.
Hello? Am I dead?
My name is John. I'm the new forensic pathologist. I can see you, and that's how we'll figure out how you were murdered.
That means ghosts are real!
Since then, I've noted multiple additional missing case files and even missing bodies.
Let's say I believe you came across some record-keeping discrepancies and a string of deaths. You're not an investigator, Jonathan. Stop trying to be one.
After everything I've discovered, I just need to know why. What happened in Springfield?
Going somewhere, Dr. Spacer?
Listen to How I Died, a full-cast police and medical procedural podcast with over 40 episodes already available. Then, tune into Season 4 of How I Died, releasing now on all podcast apps.
My real takeaway from perhaps the whole episode is Patty crawling across the fucking dining room table at Graham. It's really sexy. Like,
it's sexy,
very
but
much
she's
into
being
it.
like a wet blanket. It's super weird because she's like,
yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand why she's does not want him to go to a concert. Like, they're getting audited, and maybe she's like, hey, like, I would really want to like chill out with you at home the day, like the evening after we get audited or whatever, we have our audit thing. But like, if I would like to think that I would be like, yeah, go to your concert. We're gonna get audited. It's gonna suck. Go to the concert. Have fun. Like, and instead she's like, please don't tell me you're gonna cap off our audit with a Dead concert. I'm like, what? Patty, let him live his life. So anyway.
Well, but see, as a Patty now, I can speak. I think that what's happening. I think that what's happening is that like Graham, we've seen that Graham is like, you know, he's a bit arrested in his development.
Sure.
He likes to hang around, and Patty is like, can you just be a grown up with me? Like, can you be here with me, present with me? So I don't think it's necessarily about her not wanting him to go to the Dead concert as much as she's like, dude, can you just be an adult person with me for this big adult thing we have to do together, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it. Wow. How the tables have turned. How the turns have tabled.
How the turns have tabled. Anyway, so that is a thing that happens, that Patty crawls across the table, and it is very sexy and great.
It's real good. Yeah.
Very good. But also in that scene, I believe, Graham says, that Neil says they're crazy to try to do this without an accountant. So I have a couple thoughts about that. Number one, Neil is right. Number two, if I were Patty, I'd be like, guess who I'm not taking advice from? Your brother Neil. I hate him.
Your brother Neil, who I cooked dinner for.
Sucks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fuck Neil.
So Graham offers Rayanne and Angela the tickets, and when I was rewatching this scene, I was like, "Wait, I'm gonna wait to see if Angela says thank you." She does not. It is so awkward. She's like, "So where's the tickets?" And he hands them to her, and you're just like, "Wait, like a shitty thank you, but a thank you, right? No, nothing." And Graham just like takes it and leaves. And it's
I know. I wrote down Angela is as cold as ice.
Ooh.
Like she's really
it's bad.
Chilly. It's chilly in the bedroom of Angela.
Very
Chase.
frosty, yes.
Rayanne, of course, is more excited than she's ever been about anything. And before we get too deep into like Rayanne's whole situation, she leaves and we go into Patty and Graham's bedroom. And they have another pretty sexy scene. It's like pretty heated for Patty and Graham this episode. But fucking Graham is like, I gave Angela the tickets and fucking Patty is pissed. And Graham is like, but Amber's going to be there. And Patty says, Amber is going to be there. What does that mean? She's probably going to meet Heidi Fleiss there. And I was like, Heidi Fleiss? Yeah. I didn't know. Did you know? Do you know? Like, did you automatically know who Heidi Fleiss was?
Yeah, I did. Absolutely. But like,
tell the listeners.
Heidi Fleiss is I think she was called the Hollywood Madam. And she, got, this is what I remember about Heidi Fleiss, that she got brought into court for running a prostitution ring. And in the process of that, I believe she had like a little black book with the name of like high profile clients who had used her prostitutes in Hollywood. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Because she did not give it up.
Oh,
She at least from the limited amount I read, she was like, "That's not my fucking style," and she like didn't give it up. Yeah, she kind of sounded like a badass.
No, I think Heidi Fleiss is another one of those '90s characters, like Marsha Clark or whatever, where like at the time you're like, yeah, because she was a very tabloidy figure, the Hollywood Madam, Heidi Fleiss. I mean, like this is the thing is that. I think I said this before. What I do in my podcast about Lost is I do the most 2004 thing. It would be so easy to do the most 1994 thing about like these episodes, and I don't want to like step on that other bit. But like, can we just say that she goes from talking about Heidi Fleiss to talking trash on Jay Leno, and Jay Leno is the new guy, right? She doesn't say Jay Leno. She's just like, I miss Johnny, I miss Johnny Carson. I don't like this new guy, Jay Leno. And I'm like, how old do I feel right now?
Like seriously, when Jay Leno was news, like was the new guy. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like Graham is like reading this like pornographic book, and then I think this later part is the later part where he's like shirtless and trying to like have sex with her, and she's like, did you talk to Ann? And I'm like, Patty, stop buzzkilling the moment is my feeling on this situation. So oh no, that's a later scene. That's a later scene when he's shirtless, and I wrote hot with like 8 T's. And Graham wants to have sex with her.
I may have conflated the two. I think I conflated.
And then he says this thing. He says this thing to her. I will skip ahead to this scene. He says this thing to her. He says, "I like it when you actually need me."
Yes.
Which is both like bad and good, right? Like I'm like, but then also it's a very relatable, I think, kind of feeling in a relationship.
I do too.
I
think it's. I think it's easy for us because we're looking at this. It's a hetero relationship. It's easy to be like, what's happening here? But like, I think that this is just like a genderless, relatable thing. I really do. That like, for their relationship dynamic, Patty is in charge. She really is. She's the dominant person. She's making the plan. She's organizing things. She's whatever. And Graham feels like he's not able to sort of like perform at the level that Patty does when it comes to being a grown-up and being needed. And I think it read super, super true to me. And I pushed those two scenes together. But yeah, I think that they kind of go together because it's all them in their bed.
on the one hand, yes, I agree with you. I think it is like a genderless emotion to want to feel like, you know, if you need your partner also needs you, and not like in a needy or is dependent on sort of way, but just sort of like in a mutual support kind of way. That being said, there is a theme of like with Graham, there is a theme, I think, of like slight emasculation, which is not a concept I really believe in, but like this idea when we first see him in the flashback, it's not just that there's like a younger Angela who's like excited. He's like coming home from not working for Patty. You know, he's like a little bit more like business suit and briefcase. And like before he was his wife's employee sort of thing. And so he was like the 50s like man of the house kind of vibe thing that he's giving off there. So
that's real. Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
That's super real.
Anyway, Graham, he's hot when he's shirtless in bed, wanting to have sex with his wife.
I mean, Graham is, you know, arrested in certain ways and doing great in some others. Like, you know, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Patty takes her dad to lunch in an attempt to like connect with him and make him not ruin everything, which of course he does anyway. Another super 1994 thing about this episode, Joanna, is that when we like pan in on the diner that they wind up going to, there's a billowing cloud of smoke coming from the counter.
Oh, wow.
Because you can smoke in restaurants in 1994, folks.
Wow. And then we get this more central moment for My So-Called Life creator Winnie Holtzman as
and this is the scene with the flannels that you brought up because I start off with my note, so many more flannels.
Yep, a sea of flannels. She asks them to diagram sentences. She's at sort of like her wit's end, and I do like that Angela's like,
I couldn't believe that Jordan Catalano was actually trying to diagram my sentences. His sentences were really short.
Yeah. Okay, and then Angela does this thing, and this is like, I'm sorry that I have so many story times, but this is what My So-Called Life does this to me. Yeah. Have I ever told you the story about the time that I had a crush on my college English professor and tried to get his attention?
No.
Okay.
No.
I had a crush on my English professor in college, and I just thought he was super dreamy. He wore like tweed jackets with the elbow patches and blah, blah. And I had summer session with him, and every weekend we would take the Amtrak train back home. I went to school in Davis. You could take the train back to where I grew up. He lived in Berkeley, so he also took the train, and I just coincidentally happened to ride the same train with him one week, but I noted which train that was, and then I on purpose rode that train every single weekend so that I'm
fanning myself.
See him. And so I wanted to get his attention. So I pulled a complete Angela and I sat across from him and I got out my volume of Hemingway short stories. And just like with all the grace of Angela, like flashing those Grateful Dead tickets at Jordan to get his attention, I like held the cover up with the hope that he would say, and he did. It work't in my case.
He took the bait.
And like nothing untoward happened. He was married and had children. I didn't want that. I just wanted to talk to him because I just thought he was like super dreamy. So we would like talk on the train all the time about books and stuff like that. So and we had like a whole
God.
like, but I that's like the most like shameless trying to hook someone's attention thing I've ever done.
Joanna, I want you to know that in my mind, you and Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer are on that train. Like, it is nobody else but Giles.
He looked he was not British, but he was my Shakespeare professor, so he studied in Oxford, so you might as well have been British. Like, he was very Gilesy. I loved him.
You were like tweed and elbow patches. Yeah. I was like,
Professor John Stencil, UC Davis. He might still be there. I don't know. So anyway.
I love the names we're dropping. Mike Messer-Cola.
John Stencil. All right.
Angela has a monologue also in this scene. She's like, you know that thing where you say something and you just hear it over and over and over again in your head, and then you just like have to say something else to change the subject. This is something that it resonates with me so deeply. I have so many moments in my life where I will say a thing and I will be like, oh no, oh no, and like try to, and I'm pretty good at pivoting. So probably most people don't even know that it's happening for me. But I just felt Angela so hard in this scene.
Something that I've tried to do in my adulthood, my Patty adulthood, is like be easier on myself about stuff like that, because like what you have to remind yourself is that like nobody else is paying as much attention to you as you're paying attention to you. Do you know? So that's a way to like get, if you have those moments, that's a way to like get through them. But like they definitely were a thing.
Right, because all Jordan's thinking about is like scalp those dead tickets. Rayanne is fucking pissed, Joanna.
She's so mad.
She's so mad. And I think she has a reason to be mad. I think that Rayanne has, she makes 2 points in this episode that resonate for me. One, because I agree with it, and one, because I disagree with it. This is the one that I agree with. That the ticket was not Angela's, right? It was, one ticket was Angela's and one ticket was Rayanne's.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fucked up for Angela to give those tickets
I agree.
away.
Yeah.
And so I'm like really here for Rayanne's anger and the fact that she like stays mad for a bit. She really needs to like work it the fuck out. And I really get it. Rickie is also like really solidifying into his Rickiest form in this episode, where, you know, he's like, why though? Like, why did you do it? And we'll get to a scene in a little while where he really gets deep with Angela without her giving him anything, because he's just so attuned. He's very present for both of his friends, Rayanne and Angela, and I love him.
He's fantastic, and like the fact that the way in which he always tries to be a good friend to both of them is something that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I will say this. It's lovely and supportive, but it's also like a mode that I can't relate to Rickie on every level, but I can relate to him in the way that like there are some people or I would say as a teen, I felt like I was not entitled to my own drama, my own strong feelings, my own whatever. You feel like you are the supporting character in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a role that Rickie assumes. Like we get to see, like in the car scene in last week's episode, whatever, like we get to see that he does have his own drama. We will see like probably more of his drama. But I think his default mode is like, it's gonna always be about Rayanne and Angela, and it's gonna be about me like being a shoulder for them to cry. Like, I mean, that happens in this episode where Rickie starts to go like reveals that I mean, I don't know. I think this is a revelation, right? That like he's being raised by his uncle, that he thinks of his uncle as his dad, because it's the closest thing he has, that his uncle sometimes like kicks down his door. And then Angela goes, my dad always knocks, in a way that like, you know, I feel like she's having a little smidge of self-realization there. And then Rickie goes like, yeah, I figured, or whatever. And then we just like cut away, and we don't get Angela being like, want to talk to me more about the fact that your uncle kicks down your door? Like, can we talk about that's a bigger drama than this ticket drama that I'm going through right now? And she doesn't. And that like you know, there's questions about like people being I think we see similar things. We've talked about similar things on Buffy. Is Buffy a good friend to Willow? Not always. Is Willow a good friend to Buffy? Always. Almost always. You know what I mean? So like these are the differing roles, but
totally. And I think that like Rickie is tentatively sharing stuff with Angela that she's partially there to receive, but like not fully, because she's immersed in her own stuff. And I don't know that on first telling, for somebody who lives Angela's life, like I feel like Angela is not necessarily in a place where she's able to fully be present with Rickie. She was in that car last week when it was raining,
right?
But in this moment, she's not. Yeah.
Well, it's a weird thing that like when I first started sharing, like, because I used to not talk that much about my relationship with my mom, because I felt like ashamed, you know, like you feel ashamed if you have a bad relationship with your parents, like what's wrong with me that I can't have a good relationship, whatever. But when I first started talking about some of my difficulties with my mom growing up, like as a young adult, I would have friends who'd be like, oh my God, you can share my mom, is like a thing that they would say. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
You know, I can't, like, I really hated that, because like, it was like, I think genuinely meant, but is a very useless and actually kind of like self-braggy thing. Like, my mom's great. You can share her. And I'm like, well, but I can't. And also, glad that your mom's great. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it's
And
just,
also like erases the experience you're having with your own mother.
right,
Like,
exactly. So like,
yeah.
So Angela, at least when she says, it felt like such a that moment to me when she goes, my dad always knocks. But at least the way that Claire delivered that line is like at least a little bit like, okay, I'm recognizing my privilege here, sort of thing.
I agree. She was more self-aware, like in that conversation. So yeah, I mean, the title of the episode is Father Figures, and so because we get a lot. It's like obviously the main thing is like Patty and her dad and Angela and Graham, but obviously we just talked about Rickie and his uncle, who is his father figure. And we also hear from Rayanne in terms of like why she's so upset about Angela giving up those tickets and all this stuff is because she can't imagine a world in which a parent would do something, a father would do something like that. Everybody kind of has their own situation happening when it comes to their father figures or their lack of father figures. So the IRS fucking agent comes over. That's where we are, I think, chronologically, to be like, yo, what's up with this fucking tax shit? And Chuck, of course, Chuck just continuously is a horrible human to Patty. She basically is like, hey, I'm going to give it up because he gives it up. He talks about the fact that he's used this car that he's claimed for his taxes on vacations. And Patty, bless Patty, who is like running the shit out of this business. Like, she's doing such a better job than he has apparently ever done. And she calls it. She's like, listen, I'm talking over my father right now, and I'm going to tell you, IRS agent, we're paying the fucking taxes. I'm not going to let him fuck this up for me any more than he already has. And he is like, who the hell are you to make an agreement? The way that he talks to her and the things that he says to her are so horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of meant in terms of like when I watched it as a young person, I knew, you knew you weren't supposed to like the character. But I just feel like now as an adult woman, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
It's really upsetting.
Absolutely.
Then there's this whole thing where like Angela's not supposed to go to the concert, which complicates the fact that she's sold the tickets already. Graham has to tell her that she can't go because Patty is not comfortable with it.
I gotta say, there was a really easy way for Angela to get out of this. Because and she almost gets there because she's like, Rayanne has the tickets. And if she had just stopped right there and been like, I'll call her and tell her we can't go.
Yes.
Then done. Because there is no reason that Graham needs the tickets back. And if Angela just sits at home, then lie gotten away with. But instead she keeps talking and then runs out the door. And I'm like, Angela, you need to work on your scamming abilities. This is very silly.
Yeah, she doesn't do a great job, and she has to hide in Brian's car.
Yeah.
Across the street, which is hilarious. This is where we get the scene where it's so cold. That Angela is so cold. Brian is like, yo, what the fuck are you doing in my car? But if I had to pick like one scene to distill the essence of Brian, so far at least, this would be it. It's everything about Brian in like 7 lines, he's like, hey, what are you doing in here? And he gets in the car and it's like really sweet. And then he's like, I just need you to know that, since this is my car, you should tell me if this has anything to do with Jordan Catalano.
I think I have a right to know, does this involve Jordan Catalano, is what he said. And then he gives her a sweater. Like, that's the thing. And some of my, listeners to my Lost podcast, they're in like this little Slack group that has to do with that. And they're also listening to this podcast. And they seem to feel like we were a little too soft on Brian Krakow at episode 2, at least when we were talking to him. Like that we were just like a little too, like they're having a very strong negative reaction to Brian Krakow. I am forever trying to find some things to feel like soft about certain characters. But I will say that like Brian, yeah. I mean, when he says, like, I have a right to know, I'm like, guess what? You don't. And I love that Angela just gets out of the car. She's like, oh, you're going to hold that over me? Cool. I'm going to leave. So,
Totally.
you know, so like Angela's not giving him any of that ownership over her, but Brian is constantly trying to have that.
Right.
And so,
and he's, you know, I mean, I would not, I mean, you all know me, you've known me for a long time here in your ears if you've been listening for a while, but like, I'm not the person to like extend a hand to a dude, but like I do have room for a lot of the things that happen in this scene with Brian.
Yeah.
You know, it's not his best work by any means. It's some of his best work because he is really gentle and caring toward Angela in moments, but he's just like going back and forth between his care for her and then his not knowing to do with his jealousy and his frustration that he can't get her interest, that he, no matter what he does, she won't look at him. She will only look at, you know, Jordan or whoever.
Right.
Before we like move on from this, because there's just one other pivot that I love. And it's like for me, it's the pivot. He's like, do you want this sweater? And she's like, yes. And it's so sweet. He takes the sweater off. She puts it on. And he's like, try not to sweat in it though. He can't just for 1 second.
And
like,
she goes, God, why do you say stuff like this, Brian?
Yeah.
Love it.
She's like aware of it. Like, what the fuck is your deal?
And then Graham comes out and for the second time in this episode, just like stone cold catches Angela as he did like with her going through his briefcase.
Yeah.
And he just turns around and goes inside. This moment when he like shines a flashlight on her and then just his face is like, it's so much. And then you know that this has a profound effect on Angela because in the next scene, like we see, you know, he's like offering up to he's giving her the silent treatment, which you can't do as a parent. Sorry, but if you're Graham and you're a tall teen, then that's what you do. So he's like giving her the silent to his own daughter, and she's like, "I'll have some juice, Daddy." And then he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good." And then she like dumps the juice down the string. It's a powerful sequence of events. What do you make of this turn of the plot?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and like Graham gives voice to it at sort of the end of the episode, toward the end of the episode, where he's like, I can't lose her. I don't know what to do. And like, we're seeing that before he has words for it. Like, I don't like it. I want Graham to be, just to repeat your incredible phrase, I would like Graham to be more than a tall teen. I would like Graham to be a father and to be able to manage his emotions so that he can communicate with his daughter in a way that is impactful instead of giving her the silent treatment and making her hurt. I mean, she's hurting. She's 14 years old, 15 years, you know, she's a kid. So I don't like it for that reason, but it rings true to me. I mean, as a 38-year-old person who has parents, who now can reflect back on some of the things that my parents did to me and alongside me, I think it's pretty accurate that like most parents are not evolved enough to be adults all the time.
Right.
So I have room for it.
Yeah. This is a lot of what this show is about. As I said, this episode is a lot about finding room for Graham, finding room for Angela, even though she's being an asshole. You like understand why. I don't know. It's especially finding room for Patty, who's having quite a time.
Poor Patty.
Yeah. So
before we get to Patty's big scene with her dad, which I think we're right on the heels of. We are. We have this bathroom scene between Angela
where she finds Rayanne by her shoes.
Right, which is so cute. And so Rayanne, this is like a real hair look for Rayanne. Rayanne has like the front half of her head is braided, the back half is in a bun, and then the blonde streak is twisted around one of the braids. There's a lot going on with Rayanne's hair in this scene. But this is the point I mentioned earlier, that there was a point I really agreed with Rayanne being angry about the ticket giveaway. And then I had this other point that I really struggled to agree with Rayanne on or whatever. And it's in this scene in the bathroom because Angela says to her, like, you don't know everything about my dad. You know, the other day I came home and it was late at night and I saw my dad and he was on the street and he was with this woman and she was in her 20s. And Rayanne's point is like, listen, no matter what your dad is doing with, no matter who your dad is doing it with, he's still the kind of dad that gives you Grateful Dead tickets. And like, that's what matters. And I think Rayanne's point is like, what your dad does for you is what matters, not what your dad is doing outside of you. And I think I disagree with this. I think that if you're a parent and you are making choices that affect your family, which Graham has been making choices that are affecting his family, that those can be factored into what kind of a dad you are. So I this is a point that I stick on with Rayanne. I don't agree.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I will address it in like the last Graham and Patty conversation, which we'll get to. So
great. I can't wait. It's like we just like a teaser for the
end of this podcast. But yeah, my best use of flannel runner up is in this next scene with Patty and her dad in the print shop, where he's wearing like a flannel scarf. But at first I thought he was wearing a flannel shirt. I was like, even Patty's dad is wearing a flannel shirt, but no, it's a flannel scarf. But still,
he does though. He does. He wears 2 flannel shirts, Grandpa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Grandpa Chuck. Blending right in with the kids. Anyway, yeah, it's a good scene. He says this thing that's intensely triggering to me. He says,
"That's what it is to raise a girl. Walking on eggshells half the time."
This is something that like a parent of mine said to me, where it's just sort of like, we have to walk on eggshells around. That's when I like stopped talking to them, by the way, because I was just sort of like, you know what, this no, the rest of the world doesn't have this impact on me, so this isn't me necessarily. Thanks so much. But yeah, this is a classic, like if you said find a television clip that can show us gaslighting, like it's this fucking clip. Like, it is. It's like you see, we have the privilege as the viewer of watching this as like the bird's eye view, and we see Patty like doing everything she can to like placate her father and to also try to help him not get arrested and not get like, you know, all of these like huge issues with taxes, blah, 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 and to try to get him to respect her as a person. And the way that he responds to that is by making her feel like she's too much. And it's so fucked up. And like that line is fucked up, but also right before that line, it's like, she's like, why does there have to be this distance? And he says, it's not my doing. And she gets so upset. And then he fucking, Joanna, this is the moment in the scene that like made my skin crawl, because he comes over to her and he's like, they're there. Like, he upset her. Like, he went out of his way to like fucking upset her, and then is like, oh, you're so upset now, like, because you always get upset because you're like a girl, and like, you know, you have all these emotions. And yeah, so I support what you're saying. Well, and I love how you pair that then with this next scene with Graham and Patty, because like Graham, who, as we said, doing a great job supporting Patty in this episode, I think. You know, and Patty's telling Graham, I think one of the reasons I married you is I sensed you'd be a better dad than my dad, which, you know, I think is pretty true. And then Patty saying stuff like, you know, Angela's pushing you off her pedestal. Like, Graham is taking responsibility here. He's like, I don't want to lose her. I don't know what's happening. I'm like freaking out. He hasn't fully penetrated the whole, like, maybe she has realized I'm doing a very bad job hiding my near infidelity or whatever. But like, you know, he's taking a lot of it into himself. And she's like, Patty's like, this is natural. She's pushing you off your pedestal, which is right on schedule, right on time. This is what she should be doing. And you need to let her go and let her be her own person in a way that my father could not do for me. And I really love what Patty has to give Graham here. And then, you know, this is also my best use of flannel. So.
Oh my God. There we go. We're there.
Here we are.
My jaw is on the floor.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Joanna, we're here. Your best use of flannel. What is it? The only flannel that I know in this scene is the robe again.
No, Patty is wearing a beautiful flannel pajama situation. So once again, my best use of flannel goes to Patty.
Oh my God. Okay.
Patricia Chase.
And you and your runner-up was Grandpa Chuck.
Grandpa
right?
Chuck's
He had a
scarf.
flannel
Yeah.
scarf. Okay, so my runner-up was Angela in that beautiful flannel when she was marveling at the shortness of Jordan's sentences. And I have decided that my winner is in the scene where the IRS agent comes over, Joanna, because the couch is flannel.
I almost did the couch. I almost did the couch.
Like, if this episode couldn't get any more flannel, the fucking couch is goddamn flannel. So gonna give it to the couch. Thank you so much for tuning into this segment of the best use of flannel.
And then we have this, like, I love the capper to this episode because we have Patty doing some great mom and spouse work, right? Because she's just like, take this to your father. And she doesn't even say, like, go make up with your father or whatever. She's just like, take this out to your father. Do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela does it. And Graham's out there fixing that rain gutter that Chuck pointed out at the beginning of the episode. Which is what he, like, went out in the middle of the night with a flashlight to check on, I guess.
Yeah,
like, earlier.
Yeah. He just needed to get out of the house.
But yeah, he's listened to the Dead on his stereo.
He's on the stereo that I just, like, not to get too far into the details here, but this man has put this stereo in a gutter that is barely holding itself up with nothing in it.
It seems like very faulty.
Very precarious.
Yes. But yeah, he's listening to Dead wearing, and like in like, this is not a great, like, the graham crackers are not probably on board for this look. This is a very dad look. He's got
I love it.
like quite the baseball cap on, quite the sunglasses, and then like a bright purple, like a royal purple, like rolled up at the elbows thing. But my favorite is Graham yelling at Brian Krakow. And I believe that Devin Gummersall, who plays Brian Krakow, I read an interview where he said, like, he mentioned something to Winnie Holzman about, like, rollerblading past people's houses or whatever. And then he's like, and then she put it in the show. Like, that's the thing, is, like, they all said they couldn't tell Winnie anything because she put it in the show. So, like, they put Brian rollerblading into the episode, and and Graham's like, can you hold this for me? And Brian's like, I'm on rollerblades. And Graham's like, well, that's fine. Just enjoy picturing my daughter naked, or whatever it is he says. It's like, it's a great Graham moment, I think.
It is. He's like, because it's also one of the moments that we see Graham, like, as an adult person being like, God damn these kids.
Yeah.
You know?
These kids and their rollerblades. Yeah.
Yeah, so Angela comes out and she goes up the back of the ladder and brings him this, like, soda or whatever. And he's like, and it's cute, it's nice, you know. He's like, do you want to take your anger out on this fucking helping with the gutter? And she's like, you're the one who's angry. And then he pivots it and he asks her about, like, what music she likes.
Yeah.
And she has a good list, a pretty accurate 90s list, I would say. She starts with Smashing Pumpkins, high on my list of 90s listens. I was not as into Rage Against the Machine or Porno for Pyros. But I did also really love Billie Holiday in the 90s. So, and that's the commonality point for Graham and Angela. He's like, wait, what? You listen
like
to Billie Holiday?
Billie Holiday? Yeah.
Yeah. Gets a little deeper there. Also, like, to use this little musical moment to connect back to the scene where Patty is wearing your favorite flannel pajamas. There's a moment that we skipped over that I just feel is kind of important, because I've been really noting the fact that Winnie Holzman is at the head of this show. Winnie Holzman is writing the show. We've gotten Chelsea Clinton. We've gotten Hillary Clinton. We've gotten, you know, all of these, like, references to, I don't know, very important feminist things at the time. And in the scene between Graham and Patty, Patty is reading an article, or she brings up Yoko Ono. She's like, did you know it wasn't even really, like, Yoko that, like, broke up the Beatles?
Love it.
It was actually this other thing. And, like, why did Yoko get blamed? And the question isn't, like, super answered, but it's almost like the power is in the posing of the question because of everything else we've seen in the episode.
Absolutely.
So it just
justice for justice for Yoko moment from from one Patricia Chase, who is like, I think a feminist. So I'm pretty into Patty in this episode. Yeah.
Well, Joanna, we've discussed yet another episode of My So-Called Life. We're coming up on an episode called The Zit. That's happening
many
next
people's
week.
favorites episode.
It's a big fave episode.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into that with you. But in the meantime, Joanna, if I'm just desperate to find more of you on the internet, where can I do that?
Oh gosh. Well, you can go to VanityFair.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Wrote This. Real quick shout out to some graffiti in the My So-Called Life bathroom that says Shroom Face on it. So I'm thinking of starting a Twitter account that's just at Shroom Face. But if not, you can find me on the Storm podcast talking about Lost. Still watching podcasts talking about the TV show Succession right now, or Little Gold Men talking about award season. Where can we find you, Kristin Russo?
God, trying to keep up with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just like trying to watch enough television. God
too
damn
much.
it.
Yeah.
You can find me as of this week. Yesterday, Buffering the Vampire Slayer came back to the ears of all the people that listen. So you can find that at bufferingthevampireslayer.com. We're in season 5 right now. You can also find me doing a lot of things with queer community. Most recently, I released an e-care package for parents and loved ones of trans young people that I'm really, really proud of and really excited about through a site that I run called MyKidIsGay.com. So you can check all of that out at mykidisgay.com/ecare. It's a really beautiful resource. Laura Jane Grace of Against Me made the music playlist. We had an incredible artist, Ashanti Fortson, who did the coloring page and the main image. I'm just really very proud of it, and would love for you all to check it out and spread the word. And you can, find me on Twitter and on Instagram and on my website at KristinNoline.com. Kristin Noline is the handle to find me at Twitter and Instagram. By the way, you can find us at Boiler Room Cast on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook. So many places to keep up with. And you can email us anytime you want at boilerroomcast@gmail.com. I would love to encourage you all to go to iTunes to rate and review us, because the more that you do that, the more people will be able to find us when they look for their My So-Called Life podcasts. So head on over there to do that, if you please.
I love it. Excellent. Can't wait to talk about the Zit.
Oh, no. Now, this is the point in the episode where you decide what pace you're going to say are closing in, and I try to keep up.
All right. So am I going to go fast or slow? What do you think?
I think, I can't tell you what I think. You just have to do it.
Here we go.
And I try to do it with you. Okay.
So until next time.
Go.
Go now, go.
Now go. I started before you. So you were pausing, and then I think I might be able to sync it up.
I've got a homicide in Springfield's North Woods by mile marker 16.
You are now entering Springfield. Where's the body?
Off the side of the ditch down there. You know, surrounded by all this crime scene tape.
Hello? Am I dead?
My name is John. I'm the new forensic pathologist. I can see you, and that's how we'll figure out how you were murdered.
That means ghosts are real.
Since then, I've noted multiple additional missing case files and even missing bodies.
Let's say I believe you came across some record-keeping discrepancies and a string of deaths. You're not an investigator, Jonathan. Stop trying to be one.
After everything I've discovered, I just need to know why. What happened in Springfield?
Going somewhere, Dr. Spacer?
Listen to How I Died, a full cast police and medical procedural podcast with over 40 episodes already available. Then, tune in to Season 4 of How I Died, releasing now on all podcast apps.
From the darkest corners of our imagination comes a game show that's more ridiculous than terrifying. Welcome to Tickled to Death, the horror comedy game show where nothing is sacred, everything's a little unhinged, and the only thing more cursed than the questions are the jokes. I'm Roz Hernandez, your fearless host, and each week I'll be leading a brave group of guests through twisted horror trivia, improv games, and enough sarcastic banter to make you question all your life's choices. So come for the screams, stay for the snark. Listen to Tickled to Death wherever you get your podcasts, and hit follow unless you want the show to follow you. In the meantime, don't get tickled to death.